So hey guys, welcome to today's YouTube live stream. And today I'm going to talk about your learning techniques, your learning styles. Most of the people, they are facing these issues that they are not able to learn how to focus on understanding, getting clarity to improve your English. Not only that, even if they are able to communicate effectively in their native language, they are facing lots of challenges when it comes to communicating in English, right? Or you can say English communication. Now let's discuss some of these things today, where you will get complete clarity in terms of understanding how you learn different things in your life and how English can be learned in a different way. Right? Most of the people, when they attend my 5-day bootcamp, they feel energized. But because they do not take decisions to go ahead and maybe they are not able to maintain the consistency, they fail to get that particular momentum to the different level. And that's why they are not able to communicate effectively. And for that purpose, today I want to share something with you which is going to be completely eye-opening for you, where we will discuss about two major types of learning techniques. And according to that thing, I will tell you that which is the learning style that you need to focus on understanding your long-term growth. Because what I believe is, in terms of your language skills, we should focus on permanent change and not the short-term change. Most of the people, they learn something, they feel happy because they get results. And as they do not continue certain things, they try to create that huge gap between the knowledge you get and the information that you have. Because ultimately what happens, you already have the knowledge, you have gained the information. But apart from that, when you fail to implement certain things at that time, you create that gap between your information and the implementation. And because of that thing, you do not improve yourself. That is the reality, right? Now, apart from this particular thing, let me tell you certain things here. Whenever you learn something, you have two kinds of ways to learn that particular thing. It may be analytical way or it may be a theoretical way. Now, most of the people who love theory subjects like science, social science, you can consider civics, like these subjects, or languages also you can consider. When we try to understand some theoretical content at that time, most of the people, they are good readers. They like to read the content, right? And on the other hand, if you consider, there are some people who are analytical. When you talk about this analysis at that time, you love some technical problems. For example, most of the people who have analytical abilities to understand certain things, their favorite subject is mathematics. If your favorite subject is maths, calculus, or aptitude or something like that, you can consider that your way of interest is nothing but learning some analytical subjects. You must be good in mathematics when you are in your primary school or secondary school. But for most of the people, they feel that they are good enough in terms of theoretical knowledge as well as analytical knowledge. But when it comes to applying these things at that time, they fail to understand that how I can apply these things in my life. Now, what is the relation between theoretical skills and this analytical skills and different styles of learning when it comes to learning language? Well, I'll tell you a few things here. When you start learning your language at that time, it was a basic mechanism that everyone followed in this entire world. Most of the people, if you just consider this particular thing, even I would say 99% people follow the same kind of thing. We can just go for 1% exception. Because what happens, your mind develops that particular mechanism when you learn a specific language. And it happens pretty well when it comes to your native language, because you learn through natural responses. You give plenty of time to improve yourself in terms of your native language. Let it be Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Tamil, Malayalam, whatever it may be. When you try to understand this particular thing at that time, you get constant feedback from people, you get corrected multiple times, and with this chain of multiple corrections and all these things, your mind updates everything constantly. But tell me honestly, does the same thing happen with you when it came to English? Not at all. Most of the people, they face the same kind of situation. When it comes to English at the time, you do not correct yourself because you are not in that learning environment. You are learning or you are just staying wherever you are staying. The atmosphere that you are in, that particular atmosphere plays an important role. If someone is if there are few people, most of the people, they complain me about one thing, that sir, we hardly try to speak with people at our workplace. There is no one who speaks English in my family. Most of the people come up with the same set of things to me. And when they tell me these things at that time, my clear suggestion to them is try to understand your ability to learn this language. Because if you are not able to just learn something and get constant feedback, it is not going to help you. Now, let me tell you one interesting example here. And that example is nothing but when you started learning your first vehicle. It can be anything. It can be for ladies, I would say, a scooter, or for a gentleman, I will say a bike with gear. Whenever you are first introduced to this particular thing, whatever kind of bike that you learned in the beginning, what was your first experience? How was that thing? Just imagine that particular thing. Now, whenever you are trying to learn at that time, you were so excited that now I'm going to learn something different. I'm going to ride the bike, right? There was so much of energy. You were so excited. And when it happened at that time, you gradually understood certain things that yes, now I need to understand that on the left hand side there is brake, or on the right hand side there is clutch. Now I need to use these things whenever I will be just riding the bike. You already knew how to balance it. There was no issue with balancing, right? So whenever you started riding at that time, you came to know that now we need to just ride this bike at slower speed. It can be just 10 kilometers or 10 to 20 kilometers per hour, whatever the speedometer that you have, right? Apart from that particular thing, after 7 days, you just tried for 1 or 2 kilometers. After that thing, you had that courage. Now you can go for 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers. And a couple of months, when you tried this particular thing, everything was toward automatically in your mind. And now if you consider your present situation, even if you are in sleep and someone tells you, hey, get up, we need to go somewhere, it is important, you will immediately get up. You will just sit on the bike, and you will also know where is the keyhole exactly. You will just you will just start your bike. That's it, nothing else. You know where is the kickstart button or whatever it may be. You know all these particular tools of your bike very well, and you follow this thing automatically, isn't it? You will say, sir, it is exact thing that we follow. What is different in that? Well, guys, there is something different in terms of your learning style. What happened exactly? Whenever you were introduced, whenever you had that level of excitation to learn that particular vehicle, that bike, the entire mechanism of riding a bike, your mind started registering certain things that yes, whenever you will ride the bike, you will find one thing for sure, and that is nothing but your rear brake is there. The control of your rear brake is there in your left hand. You knew very, very well that the horn switch is somewhere else, the self-start switch is somewhere else. You knew all those things. And whenever you just make this particular thing in a regular basis, you just followed the same thing again and again in your life at that time, you developed muscle memory as well. Most of the people, they do not know the concept of muscle memory. Now this concept of muscle memory is used everywhere. All the activities that you perform in your life, whatever the skills that you have developed in your life. If I give you the example of an athlete, you will be able to understand specific thing. Let's take the example of Kapil Dev. Now I just watched 83 movie. It was such a wonderful movie. And if you just watch that particular movie, you will see that Ranveer Singh has portrayed that particular character so well. You will not even imagine, you will not even feel that there is someone instead of Kapil Dev. He has portrayed the character so well. And if you just see that particular thing, was Ranveer, now if you just consider Ranveer is someone who is nothing but, he is the actor, right? As he is the actor, it's his ability to learn something. So he is definitely following some kind of learning style. His mind is adapting certain things. No. Now, when it happens at that time, what we need to understand is, if a specific person, after practicing, after just giving those kinds of dialogue, and after following dialogue delivery or taking some multiple shots, if the person is able to just portray the character in the same way it was, what we can do is, we can also follow similar things. We are not going to play any role, or we are not going to participate in any sports event, but we can definitely do these things well in our life when it comes to improving our language skills. Now, if you take the example of a cricketer, you will be able to understand the same kind of thing. They know how to just duck that particular ball, or how to defend that particular ball. You will be able to see that even if the ball is coming at that particular speed, if the batsman is focused enough, he knows that his muscle memory is so strong that his angle will be perfectly set to that level only, so that he will make that perfect defense, right? This is the most important thing. And when it happens automatically at that time, no matter what, the next time, whatever may be the kind of speed of that particular ball, if that particular batsman has that kind of muscle memory, he will definitely do this thing for sure. You may have observed one more thing. Whenever you write some examinations at that time, if you practice some maths problems, right? It is said that, or your teachers may have told you, or you must have observed this thing, that in your mind, you may be saying negative, minus thing, plus, minus, whatever the multiplication you are doing. But as your hand also has that particular ability or that muscle memory developed for that particular problem, even if your mind is thinking negative, that minus sign should be there, your hand is automatically writing accurate. And that is nothing but that plus sign. So your hand works accurately. Why? it's a clear sign of your muscle memory. Understand this particular thing. And you will be telling me, sir, now you are giving us certain examples regarding how to ride a bike, an example of an actor, or you must be thinking that any cricketer or something. How is it relevant in terms of understanding our English language or any other language, or in terms of language skills? Now, if I ask you, whenever you do that pronunciation of any word, what happens exactly? Your multiple muscles come into the picture. Your lips play an important role. Your jaw, whatever the movement that you're doing, your tongue, your teeth, your lips, your larynx and pharynx, this entire mechanism helps you to pronounce those particular words clearly. Agree? Second thing, when you develop your muscle memory in terms of making certain sentences at that time, what happens? You automatically speak confidently. For example, I'll just show you this particular thing practically here in this session, so that you will be able to get complete clarity that, yes, sir, this is exactly working like this. Now, I'll tell you one thing here. Whenever someone asks you your name, you come up with confidence. Well, yes, sir, my name is Kamlesh More, whatever it may be. You come up with your name immediately. If someone asks you about your educational qualifications, you will immediately come up with, I have completed Bachelor of Engineering and Electronics and Telecommunication. And after that, as I had genuine interest to learn English in my life and train people, I have also completed Master of Arts in Linguistics from the same university. Now, all these sentences come automatically and immediately. Why does it happen? Every time. The reason is you have registered those sentences automatically in your mind and you have repeated those sentences several times. That's why whenever you introduce yourself at that time, you can see your level of confidence is completely different. And if you just compare your native language, every time when you communicate with people at that time, you are smart enough, assertive enough, and confident enough to interact with different people because you have been repeating the same set of sentences in different situations again and again in your life. But tell me, did that happen with English language in your life? Not at all. It would have happened. If it would have happened, you would not be sitting here in front of your screen to listen to me. Remember this particular thing. Now, what you need to understand, you need to focus on three things in terms of improving yourself. First is nothing but revision. Second is nothing but repetition. And third is nothing but retention. These are these three things that you need to follow in terms of understanding your learning style. Now, you must be saying me, sir, what is the difference between revision and repetition? Both of these things are same. No. Let me give you some clarity about understanding the same thing. Now, if you just consider the example of a school-going kid or any college student, whenever you are learning any theoretical concept at that time, you try to learn certain things which is nothing but the part of your study. Your brain understands that particular concept as a specific thing which you are feeding to your mind. Now, it depends on your memory also. How sharp your memory is. Are you able to retain that information or not? Or you are just reading that thing multiple times. See, when I was in electronics engineering, ENTC engineering at that time, we used to draw those particular diagrams using those transistors, resistors, lots of things were there, right? But what we used to do, even if there is a specific value of that resistor or any capacitor, if we make mistake in that particular value, what happened? It used to make lots of changes in the entire calculation. And if you make mistakes there, then it is not going to give you the correct input. Those who are from the electronics industry, they will be able to understand this thing. Now, to get complete clarity, what I used to do, even I was not that much strong in that subject. So I used to draw that particular diagram, right? It was complete one-page diagram of the Fullscape notebook. I used to draw that complete diagram. And all the values according to the calculation and everything, I was not analytically strong, right? My mathematics is not so strong. So I'm a theoretical kind of person. So that's why I like to train people for this language and everything. So I used to draw that particular diagram, and on the other side, on the second page, I used to make the entire calculation so that I will get the exact value at the output. Let it be any kind of thing. And I used to repeat this for at least 10 times until and unless everything is stored in my mind and it is completely used to think for my hands also. So I used to develop my muscle memory, and then I used to solve certain kinds of things. This was I used to do. But in terms of your language at that time, what most of the people do, I keep telling them it is important that you need to learn certain concepts. See, what psychologists say, there is a specific thing. You can try this thing in your life. I'm telling you the real stuff here. If you just learn any concept today, if you just consider that it's Tuesday, right? If you learn something, now just use that particular concept couple of times. Try to do that thing and you will be able to remember that concept. But if you have learned this today and if you're trying to learn this, understand the same concept, or if you're trying to memorize that particular thing on Thursday, after 2 days, you will never remember whatever that you had learned. Most of the time it will happen with you. But the most important thing here that you need to understand is whenever you try to learn something at that time, it is necessary to retain that. It is necessary to repeat that particular thing. And that's where practice comes into the picture. Most of the people, they learn, but they do not practice. If you just remember your school days, you must have learned the concept, because there are certain things that your teachers always told you that now I have taught you, you have understood this thing well. So you agree on that. Yes, sir, we understood this thing. Now, these are the 5 examples. Go at home, practice well, and I will take the test tomorrow, and then you will have to perform properly. Now, those students who practice more and more, they are able to solve the examples in the test on the next day. But those who do not try to just practice 1 or 2 examples, they fail to solve the correct examples. And on the other hand, there are some sharp minds, sharp brains you can consider. Even if they do not practice, they will retain everything, because there you will be able to understand the part of subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is something that you are fully focused. Whatever the information that you are taking or whatever you are learning, that goes directly in your subconscious mind. And you never forget that thing. Right now, at this particular moment, you can just think for a second and you will be able to understand that, yes, sir, there was a concept in 10th standard. I still remember that diagram. If you ask me to draw it, I will draw it right away. So these things are registered in your mind, which are nothing but the part of your subconscious mind. Even if you haven't used them, they are still there. So once you revise those things, everything will be revised automatically. So when it comes to revision at that time, the concept of revision is something that you learn these things and you correct yourself. For example, let's take the example of tenses. Now, if you just understand, most of the people, they make mistakes in tenses. That's why I decided that you can get lifetime access to my 5-day bootcamp videos. You can just refer to the course link that I have pinned in this particular description, and you will be able to get certification of that. Earlier, we never used to give certifications, but now, as I decided that you need some lifetime access for that thing. So you can definitely check out the link. You will get lifetime access to the videos that I have created, and definitely you will get lifetime access to 10 videos, right? And the material that I have provided in the 5-day bootcamp also. Along with those 10 videos, once you complete that particular course after joining that thing, you will also be able to download the certificate of that particular course as well. This is the new addition that I'm giving you here, so that you can just repeat the videos again and again wherever you want. And yes, the forum is open for you. The entire community is waiting for you. You can join the 4-week community whenever you want, so that you can practice more with different people in our interactive practice section along with me. Yes, I will also support you there as well, right? Now, when you try to revise something, when you learn tenses at that time, you had that amazing experience that, yes, sir, I learned this thing in systematic way, in a beautiful manner, and I'm now able to remember certain things. But after several days, as I told you that psychologists say that after 48 hours, you forget certain things. So you start just, your memory starts fading away. And the moment you try to understand that, I learned that concept, why I'm not able to remember this particular thing? When it happens with you at that time, the major problem is, the major concern is, most of the people, they face difficulties in terms of just trying to remember that particular concept. But on the other hand, if you just try to use that concept, and if you just take care of that particular thing every single day, it will be the part of your repetition process. Whenever we repeat certain things at that time, your neuroplasticity comes into the picture. For example, how memory works. You can just consider this is a specific thread. If you learn tenses first time, you will be able to see that there is a specific ring that will be formed. That wiring will be formed in terms of memory. Second time, whenever you repeat the same thing, the second winding will be formed. Third one will be formed. Fourth one will be formed. And if you just consider that if you just leave those concepts behind, if you do not learn anything, what will happen? The process will start in reverse manner. You will just see that reversal. You will just see that reversal. So after a certain period of time, you will be able to see that, well, I learned that particular concept. I'm not able to recall it. Why? Because the neuroplasticity was not working there. And whatever you learned, you automatically started just understanding that particular thing, that why you are not able to remember that thing. This works. You can test this thing out. Most of the coders, those who are working in the software industry, those people who work in the software development, full stack, back-end developer, front-end developer, and all those things, these people need to upgrade themselves every single time, right? If you just tell them you can take a break and you can go to vacation for 15 days. Sorry. And if you ask them, and if you give them their laptop, the system and everything, and if you tell them that now this is the system, and now you need to just start coding and you need to develop this program or that program, they will say, let me check what exactly I was doing. I need to recall certain things, because their memory, somewhere they feel that whatever they practice their hands, or whatever the hands-on experience they had, it automatically starts fading away. It happens with most of the people, those who are from software industry. So when you revise certain things at that time, you keep correcting yourself automatically. And when your brain is there in revision mode at that time, you retain maximum things. You automatically take feedback. And that is the most important thing. Second, I would suggest here, when you try to just focus on repeating certain things, you gain your confidence. How? For example, I'll tell you. Whenever you started giving your introduction properly at that time, when you understood the ideal way, when you found that thing, well, I will greet people. What I suggest most of the time, greet people, tell your name, where do you belong, and tell your profession or your position wherever you're working. When you keep telling these things at that time, you repeat this thing again and again with multiple people. You can also try the same thing in front of mirror, or you can record your video to know how you are performing or how you are speaking. When you repeat these things at certain time at that time, it becomes a part of your memory. It is automatically registered. It gets registered in your mind so well that your voice intonation will be proper. Your rising and falling tone will be proper. Your loudness in your voice will be proper. And whenever these things repeat again and again, you automatically look confident, because you develop that permanent habit. Agree? Yes. Other thing, when you try to do the same thing with several sentences in your life, suppose if you go to your boss. Now, whenever you go to your seniors at that time, I would highly recommend that try to avoid can in terms of constructing the sentences. Most of the people, they have habit of using can in terms of making request or permissions. But I would suggest you need to use could. So there are few approaches that I'm telling you, how you can just go ahead, try to understand this thing, or today or tomorrow, wherever you are, you will get the time, follow this thing, whatever that I'm telling you. You just need to say, could you please tell me whatever it may be, right? Or could you please give me whatever it may be. You can use any specific thing according to your object part, whatever you want to use, right? The moment you say, sir, could you please send me that particular email? The moment you practice this kind of sentence at that time, your mind automatically understands the intonation that you felt amazing. See, your entire mechanism is so strong. The moment you feel confident, your mind will register that thing only. You must have seen this particular thing. The moment you used to ride your bike confidently, your mind registered those things in your subconscious mind. But on the other hand, if the same thing is applicable, if you are learning something confidently and if it is getting registered in your mind, you build your confidence automatically. But on the other hand, if you are making certain mistakes and if you are doing the same thing confidently, if you feel happy because of that thing, your mind will also register those things in the negative manner. And this is exactly this is the exact thing that has happened with multiple people. You must have seen certain people in your life who speak English in their life without any kind of concern, no present, no past, and no future at all. But still they will speak. They will just try to come up with the sentences. Their mind thinks that they are able to connect with people. But no, that's a total different way of speaking. You are just trying to use this particular language, whatever you feel like. No, it is not like that. If you try to focus on some systematic sentences, and if you go accordingly, you will be able to see that, yes, sir, there is something amazing in terms of revising the concepts to correct ourselves wherever we need the information, to repeat certain topics again and again so that we can build the level of confidence and retain that particular knowledge. So I'm telling you something about RRR. Revision, repetition, and retention. This is the most important thing that you need to understand. So try to know your learning style, how you are learning in your life. Is it some kind of theoretical learning or is it some kind of analytical learning? If you are following both of these things, that is totally fine. There is nothing wrong in that thing. But the thing is that if you are taking some efforts to improve your skills, my take would be you should get some results. Because I like to work for results only. If my students do not get results, I don't feel happy with that thing. I feel that what is that root cause? And that is what we connect with each other in the live interactive practice sessions. And that's how they are able to develop within few weeks. when they join the 4-week program. So I would definitely recommend you to go ahead with the same kind of thing. And if you are not ready to go ahead with the same thing, don't forget to check out the link in the description box where you will be able to understand something to retain these videos for lifetime in your life. The 5-day bootcamp, you will get lifetime access along with the certification, and you will be able to build enough confidence at least to develop your basic level of speaking ability. So take this advantage and go ahead with the same kind of thing. And today I'm so happy to see all of you guys getting this kind of knowledge and information in this particular session. Make sure that you will try to understand the same thing and you will get complete clarity about understanding the same part. By the time you can just focus on understanding yourself, keep repeating the sentences, keep revising your concept, and try to retain maximum sentences in your mind. The moment you will register enough sentences, you will see that level of confidence in your life, and that will be a wonderful thing that you are going to follow in your life. Make sure that you will follow this particular thing. Apart from this, when it comes to understanding your way of upgrading your language skills at the time, the moment you focus on understanding your language skills, what happens in your life? You automatically start communicating with people. If I tell you that, guys, this is the statement, if you use this statement, you will be able to communicate effectively. Now here, just notice one thing. I have seen certain people in my 5-day bootcamp. On second and third day, they get lots of confidence because day one is all about mind training. They set the perfect mindset. They start introducing themselves effectively. And whenever you start understanding the level of your loudness, the rate of speech that you want to follow, and the way of communication that you automatically follow in your native language, it comes naturally when you speak English as well. This is the beauty of understanding this particular language, and make sure that you will follow this particular thing now onwards in your life. Because I believe that if you follow these things in systematic manner, you are going to make yourself a great communicator in less amount of time. I know that you have been spending lots of years and you have been trying to learn this particular language, but because of certain things, you are not able to learn. So focus on revising the concepts. If you revise the concepts, you will be able to retain them. And if you repeat certain sentences in your life according to different situations, you will see that how you understand this thing in your life, and make sure that it works. It works like magic. Take efforts, take few steps, and start doing the same thing in your life. And you will be able to see some remarkable changes in your life. Follow these things, and I will definitely see you in the next YouTube live session. By that time, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and keep learning, keep growing. Bye-bye, guys.